Okay. Shema Hashem Nasa v'Naseh. Every Erev after Pesach, the second day of Pesach, there's a routine, there's a Manhig. Everybody should learn Pirkeh Avot. Pirkeh Avot that's the Hachana to Hagavolat HaTorah. And there is so much Pirushim from Rishonim and Achronim in Pirkei Avot. One of the Rambam starts to understand that Pirkei Avot is the only way you can learn and understand what the Torah wants from you. And at the end of the 6th Perek, there is different levels. If a Kohen Gadol has 24 of Derech of Kiruna, and the Melech has 36, but whoever wants to achieve really the Madriga of Torah has to achieve 48 Ma'alot, different steps. 48 means Torah is not such a small thing, people understand. So the Pirkei Avot gives you an idea, as Rambam says, to give you understanding of, in order to have a Torah, you have to have clean character traits. So if you don't have, and this is already Badur U'Menuseh, that people who don't know, they won't be able to achieve this character, because one of is in the Perek Aleph. I just want to give you a small thing. It says that Yosef ben Perachia v'netai ha'arabeli qiblu mehem. There's a machloket. How was the Torah was given after Moshe Rabbeinu? Really, the Arizal says that only Moshe Rabbeinu took all the Torah with himself. And after him, when he gave it to Yehoshua didn't consume everything. It was with a very hard push. And after that, the Madriga already came down with Nevi'im and Ashken Sagidolot. They couldn't have that Madriga on consuming all the Torah. That's what one of the Chadashim Achalonim brings from Arizal. But the Mishnah goes on to say, Aseh lecha rav, u'chneh lecha chaver. Said, make for yourself a rav. That's a very fundamental law that the Mishnah is trying to tell a person. Aseh lecha rav means you have to make a rav for yourself. And then, u'chneh lecha chaver. Buy for yourself a chaver. What's a chaver means? The Gemara understanding of a chaver means, chaver is a Talmid Chacham. So Pashtut means, if a Talmid Chacham, it could be a Rav. And you also have a Aseh lecha rav. Why by a Rav says make, by chaver say buy? Most of the Rishonim understand that chaver means you have to spend money to buy a chaver. Why is that? So the Rambam says, if you don't have chaver, you won't be masliach in life. Why not? Because he goes through the whole stage of what the chaver means to buy for yourself. But by the Rav, what does he say? He says, he said, even if you don't have a Rav, you can't get a Rav. But if you know a Rav, that you don't want him to be your Rav, right? He said, take him as the Rav anyway. Why? Because by the time you realize that he is learning, teaching you, he says, he said, by the time you realize it, first of all, you gain someone guidance. In the end, what you achieve is a chokhmah that you need to have, and that comes even though you didn't pick him as a Rav, but that it could be a Rav. It goes through the whole arichot understanding what a chaver is. But it says, and it says, we should have a lot of talmidim. What does a talmidim means? So, Tosfot Yom Tov says, who's ra'oi to have? He said, make a lot of talmidim. He said, how does it work by talmidim? He said, talmidim goes through whole akil. He says, here it goes. It says, he says, one of the Rabbi Yehuda Lidma had a question. He says, by Sheikh Talmidim, how can you have a Talmid? So he says, he said the Talmid, the whole intention of the Talmid is to learn. So therefore, the Talmid only learns where he wants to learn. Means he has to be easy and he wants to be, he's comfortable of learning. Or whoever they think, any place in yeshiva that they know, they understand, they can learn more. It says you don't find any human being that wants to be a Talmid of anybody. He said Tana didn't say that you should have a lot of Talmidim. Why not? Because they know not everybody wants to be a Talmid. Says Rabbi Manhig Liva on Sefer Derech Etz Chaim Kotel, Shelo amar lecha bana lecha Talmid. He said the Torah didn't say buy for yourself a Talmid. This is for people to understand that you want to grow in life, you have to have a love. So unfortunately, he didn't say buy for yourself a Talmid. He says, this is the one I'm trying to think this is not taught, as I learned 30 some years ago from my Rebbein. Says, is not fit that the person never told you, the Tana never told you to buy yourself a Talmid. What does that mean, buy to a Talmid? He said, is not correct to do this thing, לפי תורה. He said, he said, now look at this. This is about 200 and some years ago. He said, לעשות האדם עצמו לרב. So the person wants to make himself a Rav. And לקח לעצמו שם חשיבות. He said he's going to take for him a very high name. לומר, to say, תלמוד ממני, כמו שעושים בארצות האלו. He said, why don't you come and learn from me? He says, like they do in certain countries. He knew about America or sort of little people who came here. He says, even though their words are emet and tzedek, says, unfortunately, there was a kasha. Why the Tana didn't say? He says, really, it's not a kasha. Why not? Says when the Anshe Knesset Gedora says v'he'emidu talmidim, how a person is supposed to build a lot of talmidim, what did it mean? He says that the talmid should be so comfortable by a Rebbe, means the Rebbe should be so knowledgeable, not that he wants to push his knowledge if he knows or not. He said that for the person who is not fit to have a talmid because he's not learned enough, they didn't talk about. He said to should build. He said, what does that mean? He said, on regular emet. You can't come and learn from some yeshiva for 3-4 years and come here and open up a shul and try to push people to learn from you, even though you're not the real Rav. In the beginning, you learn something, and then in the end, you want to become a businessman and a Rav. He said, that's not the regular emet. He said, I explained that already by Ta'anit, he says. He says, it cannot be possible. Someone who is emet, who is really a truth, he has learned and he has a caliber that he can hold on to an emet. He said he didn't tell this about people who have a gava and they want to be a head and a rosh, which is you see a lot of in this country and other countries as well, even Israel. Lomar, to say, Ani emloch ve'yeh rosh, make me a head and I'll be a guidance to all of you. Ve'chatzin am, and I'm giving chatzin. Chatzin means someone who can, like a head of an army. I'm going to make a big evolution in yeshiva, and you're going to be a lot of talmidim. He says, if the Rav doesn't have anava and a seder, and he's not the divrei musar, he's wasting his time. If someone knows how to be talmidim halve, which is not this generation already, older generation. Well, it says, the pasuk says in Mishnah, Shlomo HaMelech says, "V'atzumim kol harugeha." What's atzumim mean? Atzumim kol harugeha. Ze talmid she'egia leholah. He says that this is a talmid student that he reached the level of holah. He can teach halacha, guidance, and he doesn't. He holds back. If someone doesn't really know this, didn't reach the madrega, and he's trying to push himself to become just wearing a suit and a beard and a black hat, says that's for him. He says, Shlomo HaMelech says, Rabim halalim pipila. Yani halalim v'gal v'chomer. He says, kal v'chomer. שלא הגיע להוראה או מורה שזה לפי שעה ולעיתים מזומנים להוראה ולאיש מן האישים says hours from a person who hasn't been ראוי to be a head וזה מדי יום ביום. He says, I see this every day, he says. ולתלמידים רבים ושבישתא. He said, people are mixed up. כיוון על כל שכן קל וחומר בן בנו של קל וחומר. He said, not only כל שכן, not on קל וחומר, בן בנו של קל וחומר. The person, שלמה המלך said, רבים חללים הפילה. Means, these people, they will fall out. ואין זה גושיה. He said, this is not the question. He says, if it was, lama amud b'stam. Why did the Mishnah said stam? He said, ve'ehemidu talmidim halbe. They should make a lot of talmidim. He said, for this and anything like this, he said, v'sadirim yelechu bam. Who are those of sadir? They would go that path. But u'posh'im yikashelu bam. Who are people who are poshea means they're not feeling for this and they're pushing themselves to do this, they're going to fall down and they're not going to get up. He says, Rabbi Batinu says what? Shaharab tzarech lelimot bechinam. A Rav is supposed to teach for free. Cannot have hana from Torah, limud Torah. What does that mean? He said in Mishnah Gimel Perek Vav Denadarim. There explains it. So even though by teaching Migra, Chomash, Mother, he can take money, so the main idea of him, the Tana, was to say the person supposed to have a Rav. Who belimud ha-mishnah va-gemara. Says mainly, when it says Asel Chalav, he's talking about the Rav can teach you Mishnah and Gemara. Te'ilu migra mita ve'enu mita. Says reading Gechomash and things, there is a mita, but there is a different character from mida and mida. Means really, main idea of getting a Rav is of learning Gemara and Mosh and becoming Lamdan and Apostle. But of course, says to learn Dikdu and how to pronounce, those are already Aleph Bet. So if people don't know that idea, there's a stage. Like people a lot today, they daven the tefillah and they swallow the word. They don't know half of the word, they don't have the tefillah, but they become a Rebbe, things. We haven't seen where was this taught. Unfortunately, people stumble all the time. So that's what the Tosfot Yom Tov is saying, that a person who's not learned well enough, that he did not came. And with this, we're not finished. When Chafetz Chaim Zichrono Livracha finished his Mishnah Berurah, he met with Rab Chaim Brisker, one of the Yonola in Europe. So Rab Chaim asked him, you wrote the Sefer Halacha. How did you did the Shagla Batalia of Poskim, and what you take out to say the maskana of the thing? How many did you brought? He said from between 27 and 28 poskim. So he says, if that's the, he saw it. He said, if that's the case, that's a good to go. And that was what Chavetz Chaim, which he was already, they say he was an Ilui as a young age. 10 years old, even though 10 years, he became already old friend. So, this is the idea of understanding, and it's so much to Pirkeh Avot that is all about how to characterize yourself, because if you don't, the Torah that you will learn would not stay. You're just reading it, and you won't grab it. But if you have understanding and you try to fix, that's why it's all shimush. It says the chavel means not the chavel. Chavel is a Talmid Chacham. Says that chavel, that you should have as a friend. Why? Because he eventually would bring you, he said, to becoming a better person. And that way, you will understand it. Therefore, the Tana says, buy him. Mean spends all the money that you need to have his love for you and use for him. That's understanding of Rambam, means that you should be one. You should, that both of your understanding and requests are all be the same. You shouldn't have two different mindsets. He said that's a madrega to have, which is not easy. He said, but that's the goal. Hashem should have, people should understanding that if you have that goal, then you will have go up and up. The matter.